was an area manager at a third-party logistics operation serving a national homeware retailer. The retailer's supply chain director called after 1,900 premium orders missed dispatch and accused our site of hiding a growing backlog. I needed to recover confidence, establish the facts, and protect customers whose delivery dates were already at risk. I could defend the contractual forecast, promise an immediate full recovery, or acknowledge the failure and agree a transparent priority plan before claiming a completion date. I listened without interrupting, repeated her concerns, and then joined order age, carrier capacity, and labor records. The analysis showed we had met aggregate volume while allowing premium orders to age behind simpler units. I owned the miss, gave her the unfiltered backlog, created a premium order lane, and agreed 4-hour updates containing oldest order age, units cleared, defects, and revised delivery exposure. My planning lead worried that publishing uncertain forecasts would create more escalation. I used ranges, stated assumptions, and separated confirmed facts from estimates rather than withholding information. The first recovery wave produced twice the normal packaging defects, so I slowed the lane, added a quality check at sealing, and extended recovery by 3 hours instead of masking the issue. Before closing the action, I sampled performance across different shifts and demand conditions, so the result did not depend on one unusually experienced team or a quiet operating window. I translated the outcome into a simple frontline mechanism with a named owner, an escalation threshold, and a weekly measure, which made the change repeatable after I stepped away. I also documented the operating assumptions, named the owner for each follow-up action, and set a clear review date so that temporary controls could not quietly become permanent. I wrote the decision, assumptions, owners, and stop conditions on a one-page control plan so the next shift could challenge the logic rather than rely on verbal context. I used both a leading indicator and a customer outcome measure that prevented a short-term productivity improvement from hiding quality, safety, or backlog age. During implementation, I stayed at the operating point for the first cycle, asked frontline employees what the mechanism missed, and changed only one variable at a time. I assigned named owners for each checkpoint and made escalation thresholds visible in the shift huddle, which reduced ambiguity when I was not physically present. After stabilization, I compared the result with the original baseline, checked for cost or defect displacement, and documented the mechanism for the other shifts. Before committing, I asked a supervisor who disagreed with me to identify the weakest assumption, then converted that concern into a measurable checkpoint rather than relying on consensus. I separated mandatory controls from preferences, which let the team move quickly without weakening the safety, quality, or customer promise that the operation existed to protect. For each alternative, I estimated the likely customer impact, labor requirement, operational reversibility, and worst credible failure, and I explained why my chosen path offered the best balance. I briefed affected teams before launch, checked understanding through questions rather than attendance, and made the escalation route clear to people working outside my shift. I also protected normal operations by defining which work would pause, which work would continue, and who could authorize expansion beyond the initial controlled scope. At every review point, I compared actual performance with the assumption that justified the decision. When they diverged, I changed the plan rather than defending the original recommendation. I made the cost of the choice visible as well as the benefit, because hiding overtime, rework, or displaced backlog would have made the result look stronger but less useful. We cleared the premium backlog in 31 hours, reduced oldest order age from 46 to 8 hours, and held defects below 0.3%. The customer renewed the lane for peak. I would involve her earlier, before the backlog crossed 500 orders. A difficult customer interaction improves when I acknowledge impact quickly, expose the operating truth, and make progress observable rather than arguing from the contract.